My naam is Ruan Jacobs. Ek is hoof van rugby by Afrikaans Schoolboy. Hello, my name is Ruan Jacobs. I'm Head of Rugby at Afrikaans School, better known as Affies. I started in 2020 at Affies. I coached under 15s, and after a few good seasons, and obviously with personnel changes within the school, I got the opportunity to become Head of Rugby at the end of 2023, taking over from Reiner van der Merwe, who moved up to become Head of Sport. And ever since then, I've been Head of Rugby at Affies. Yeah, I was an old boy here. I played first team in 2005 and 2006. After that, I played professional rugby. I went to the Free State for 3 years. After that, I was in Potchefstroom for the Pik and the Leopards. Since until 2011, and after that I moved on to East London and played for the Border Bulldogs until 2015. After that I retired, and then I started coaching at a school there, Sterling High School, which was a very good school, and from there I moved on to Durban 2018 and 2019, and then after 2019 we decided to move back to Pretoria and took up a position at Affies. It's a difficult position to have. Luckily for me, maybe what I lack in experience, I've got the privilege to work with a great team around me, whether it be head of coaching with my brother. I've got a great commercial manager in Pine Pinar, who's also a big mentor in my life. And then I work closely with my fourth coach, who's Jacob Koch, who's head of the gym and the hostel, and all of them supports me. So yeah, it's a privilege to be able to say that, but once again, I think life is made easy with strong people around me. I think if you look at prominent schools, there's a few big names that's heading up their rugby programs. I think for every school it's different. It depends on what fits for the school. I don't think it's a one job description you can cut through every school. So what works for Affies might not work for someone else. But if you look at the names that's out there, if you take the big 5 schools, you'll see there's prominent names, guys that played Springbok, guys that coach professionally, and yeah, it's nice to be a part of that mix. And then obviously it puts pressure on a guy just to try and develop, try to get better, because you know the level is going to be high. So it it keeps you on your toes to make sure that your knowledge grows and your coaching ability grows as well. So it's actually a privilege to be a part of that. So definitely, yes. If you look at the schools we just played, Parelgym has got a fantastic coach in Peter Rousseau, the ex-Springbok wing. I think guys of my age, he's been a hero, especially when I played. If you look at Parel Boys High, you've got Shaun Erasmus, who's a fantastic coach and who's coached professionally as well. Obviously at Grey, you've got Bobby Hubert, also a well-travelled coach, a guy that knows his stuff as well, also coaches at the Cheetahs junior systems. And then at Paul Roos, you've got a guy like Corne Ace. I think 2024 showed us how good of a coach he is, and how strong a program he's driving at Paul Roos. He's also played professional rugby at the highest level. So yeah, it's a daunting mix, and it's, like I said, a privilege to be able to compete with guys like that. And then even if you go beyond that, you get guys like Peter Engeldo at DHS, who's coached at a high level before, done wonderful things with the Griquas in the past, in the Currie Cup. He's back. And then at Rondebosch, you got a guy like Clint van Rensburg, He's also played fantastic rugby back in the day, also knows his stuff, and he's heading up a program there. And I think you can go on, the list is endless. So like I said, it's a privilege to be able to coach among them and coach against them. And then I think it's just an environment where you have to be able to grow, to be able to learn a lot, otherwise you're going to get left behind. What an honor and a privilege to be invited back. I think the last time Affies competed at the Case Easter Festival was in 2002. So it's great to be back. I think for us, over the years, we've started to have a fixture with Case, so our brotherhood grew strong. We've got good relations with the school. So I think that's the first point. And then obviously, from my perspective, you look at the opposition that they give, and you get fantastic schools like Selborne and Queen's College. Northwood is there from Durban. We play Noordjewel on Saturday. So schools like that and fixtures that make it worthwhile. So I think the opposition at the festival is very strong, and it meets our prerogative, what we want out of the festival. And yeah, and I just think it's a nice way just to grow our friendship with Case, which is already strong. Yeah, I think it's all about friendship. So some schools has got stronger bonds with other schools, and in that case, us with Case, because we play each other every year, and we do cricket and hockey and rugby and athletics and everything against each other. So I think that's maybe the biggest point from our side if we have a discussion about where to attend. And then the other one, like I said, it's about the quality of opposition and who you can play and who you can't play, because your fixture list is already populated with strong opposition. You can only play a certain amount of schools, and in my instance, we felt that the Case Easter Festival gave us the best opposition for the season ahead. So I think that's our thinking process behind the decision we made. So, obviously, the coaches amongst all the first teams have got a strong bond. So we talk regularly, and then as the season ends approach, we'll just talk about the next season. In Gauteng, we luckily have a sports directors meeting where all of the directors of sport get together and they decide how summer and winter fixtures work, which is well populated for us because there's such a great amount of schools that's strong in sport. So I think if you heat up your fixture list and you see all your traditional rivals, after that then you can decide which festival to attend and who the opposition you feel might be worthy or might be good enough for you to play. Yeah, the opportunity that fits my philosophy in terms of having a growth mindset. So opportunity came along at the end of last year where there was a potential position to consult or intern at the Bulls, helping out at the under-19s as a backline coach, which I accepted. And so in the mornings I have the privilege to be able to coach next door. It's just a walk across the road, which makes it even easier for us. So we help out there. Once again, having a privilege to rub shoulders with a guy like Wessel du Plessis, who's was the head of rugby at Great College for a long time. Came across and out the Bulls, learning from him, and then obviously working alongside coaches like Ofensi Mueng and Edgar Maratule. Just keep growing and seeing what they do and how they build their team out and how they prep for competition. It's just all part, like I said, about my philosophy of how you can grow and how you can get better, and some of the nuggets you can take from there and you can put it back in the Affies program, how it works, and then and then personal growth as well, being in a different environment, maybe not coaching schoolboys anymore, but coaching young men and how they respond to your message that you try to send out, and is your message strong enough, and is your detail clear enough for them to buy into your project. I think that's all part of growing as a coach, and I'm lucky enough to have that opportunity just across the road for this year, which I'm very thankful for. It's very simple. It's to get the best out of the people in my care, which I'm very passionate about. The steps for how you do that, I feel, is about being a master of your craft, and then obviously having optimal care of the people in your under you or working for you or the players that you have to coach. So I also live by, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's a thing that I live by, and that's my a philosophy that's helped me in good stead ever since I've started as a coach. And I think it's easy for me to say, but maybe if you can talk to guys that's been coached by me, and they obviously hopefully tell you that we've worked hard and we graft hard, but the bonds and the relationships we form, I think, is the best part of being a coach at school level. So it falls into my philosophy, and growing boys into becoming great men, and then just being a great example of what there is outside of school. So because I also feel that having a position like you have and mentoring young men is a privilege. It's not for everyone, and it's not an easy job, but you have the scope, and you have a calling, and you have a say in his life that can change it forever. So if you use it in a good way, you can create a great man, and at the end of the day, that's what my philosophy is about. And then it goes together with a school like Affies as well. It's all about the product we send out of here, and what young man comes out of Affies. That's our biggest voice out there. And I think if you can see any old boy, you'll see his manners and you'll see his character, you'll know he's from Affies. That's the thing that drives me. It's 105 years old. Humble beginnings, as you know. So started in 1920, just in a farmhouse up in Pretoria, and as the school grew, we moved places, and I think we started with like 20 kids, and I think now we're 1,500 boys, which is great. But the history of the school is edged in its language. So we're proudly Afrikaans. I think we're the only Afrikaans boys school in the world left. So it's nice to be that. With 105 years comes a lot of tradition, which we still carry on until this day, and obviously a lot of weight on your shoulders to make sure that you carry on that tradition. Which is once again, I feel, is a privilege. Every teacher in the schools feel like that. And once again, as an old boy, to come back into work here as is unique, and it's a thing I'm always grateful for. I think the school that instilled all those values in you as a teenager, and you can come back and give back to guys that's now that stage in their life. I think it's a very great honor. And yeah, the school's heritage, I think it speaks to itself. You know, we're strong in all different spheres of life. We strive for uniqueness. We strive for perfection. Yeah, we want to be great in everything. We've got a great holistic development philosophy at the school, which is fantastic for us. We're strong in cricket and rugby. We're strong in academics. We're strong in culture. So yeah, it's just a great place for a young man or a young boy to turn into a young man and develop his whole existence, not just some part of it. I think the big values, and you'll see it as you walk around the school, I think is integrity, loyalty, honesty, and then you know, the biggest thing for us is broederskap. So the brotherhood we build here, I think that's the thing that carries us the furthest. Another big thing for the school is our cornerstone is we're a Christian school, so we based all our values off of that. You'll see every morning we start with the reading and with prayer, and we end off every day with a reading and a prayer, because we feel that's where our strength comes from, and that's held us in good stead for 105 years. Yeah, and within the school we build that character, we build the integrity, we build the loyalty, we feel the brotherhood with everything we do, whether it be academics, whether it be sport, whether it be culture. Anything we do is built around that, and once again, I think that's why all of the different parts of the schools are so strong. It's because it comes out of the school. There's no one thing that operates by itself. It's all intertwined by one, and it's all combined by, like I said, all our values. That's having loyalty, being honest, having integrity, being strong with our brotherhood, being friends with each other, helping each other. So it's a nice machine to be a part of. I think there's a few articles recently about some schools being like rugby academies, but you're 100% right. So the money that's been invested in school rugby in the past years has been massive amounts, which is tremendous for the development of the game. School rugby at the highest schoolboy rugby at the highest level now, I think is very close to any junior provincial competition, I feel. You know, with all the IP that you have there regarding coaching, and then all the talent that's running around, I think it's like coaching the next generation Springboks just 10 years before they get there. So yeah, it's a great path for a boy, a great time for any boy to be involved in schoolboy rugby. So any boy will come into a system, he'll play 14s all the way through to first team. You'll get spotted at Easter festivals like we have this weekend, and then from there, you'll get a contract at one of the big four unions, or you get a bursary at the universities, and then you continue path. You either play junior provincial competitions like the under-19s or the under-21s, or you play in the Varsity Cup, which has grown massively in South Africa, and then from there, hopefully you develop into a junior Springbok, and then going on to URC and European Championship from there. So yeah, the school rugby is very intertwined with the local unions and their development. So nothing for a guy being in matric the 1 year, and then the next year or two we see him playing top flight rugby for the Springboks or for any URC franchise. So that just I think that attests to the level at which the schoolboy rugby is at the moment. Yeah, I think. Obviously, with the growth of super sport schools, it's great from the commercial side for a sponsor to be part of a traditional boys or the traditional rugby school, to get the exposure every Saturday. because you're going to be every second week you're probably going to be on TV. So the exposure is out there. I think more people watch Schoolboy rugby than what they do Currie Cup rugby. So I think it's a fantastic platform for any business to invest in the future of the game. I don't think the sponsors always realize the influence it has on the boys' development, because it's expensive for a school to run a rugby program. But some of the sponsors that come aboard, they do wonderful things for grassroots rugby, and I think that's why the Springbok pipeline is so strong, because of sponsors putting their money where it's the most important for me, being under 14 all the way to under 19. Guys getting the chance to develop and play, having good coaches, and like I said, when they're 19 or 20, they can be ready for URC level already. So I think that's a big part where the sponsors, that some people just maybe see the money that they throw there, but they don't understand how important that is and how it changes a boy's life, from just maybe having a normal routine to being in a school where his talent is being seen, his talent is being developed, and he's carving a life out with his passion. That's very special, a very special power that sponsors have. It's nice to be at a school where our sponsors look after our kids, look after our travel costs and stuff like that. So it's a really big role that they play in the rugby program. Yeah, so if you just take a rugby program, we've traveled to Parelgym this year. We're flying down, and it's, as you know, any flight is expensive, but half of the cost is being covered by the sponsors at school, so it makes it affordable for every kid in the school to be able to go, regardless of his financial situation at home, which is very great. And then obviously for every coach you need the right equipment. You'll see at Affies, our equipment is always spotless and clean and always well maintained, thanks to sponsors. And then obviously you've got facilities that need to be refurbished or need to be built, or you have to upgrade them a little bit. And once again, that's where sponsors come in. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the facilities to develop that, you can't expect anything from that talent. So that's just a handful of stuff where sponsors come in here, where it helps at Affies. Like I said, we're privileged to have good sponsors, and they put their money to the right areas, and it is always to the benefit of the boy, which is always for me important that the sponsor you have has the same heart as the school. And in our case, we're lucky that we have that. Yeah. So on Saturday we played Noordheuwel. Noordheuwel has been building a very good rugby program over the past years. I think if you look at the past fixtures they had against Paul Roos and against Grey, it was very tightly contested games. We're expecting a very tough battle on Saturday. They'll be ready for us. It's nice for us to be back playing against opponents like we call it in the Noordval in Gauteng. So we expect a tough match against Noordheuwel, and we always know the guys from Krugersdorp are physical and they're well drilled. So we expect a tough contest. And then on Monday we're privileged enough to play Selborne College. Affies hasn't played Selborne in a while, so it's great to play against another top boys school. We expect another physical game. They're obviously very good on the breakdown. Got very slick backs, very good on the counter attack. So yeah, it's a bit of a different animal to what we faced this year, but it's a great challenge for us to be ready for Selborne to be something different and to be able to prep for that. Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for us, but we'll be ready, and we've got the utmost respect for them, as we know they're also a boys' school, so they also come with passion, and it's going to be a tough match on Monday. It's a great question. I think my biggest one I'm looking forward to is obviously Rondebosch against Kees. They're playing in the main match on Saturday. I think Rondebosch has got a good team. Kees slipped a few matches, but knowing the Kees boys well, I know they're going to come hard at Rondebosch, and obviously playing on the Reds field, they're going to be very, very good. And Rondebosch having a great start to the year already. I think that's going to be an epic clash. I must say the other one I'm looking forward to is also Jeppy against Selborne. Just wondering who's going to change their jersey for that game, because both playing in the red and other black and white groups, but also two very good sides, having good starts to the season, and they're gonna test each other well. So it's two matches I look forward to the most. Yeah, I was privileged enough to be nominated by Saru a few years back to attend the World Rugby Level 3 course, which finished in 2024, which I'm very thankful for. That you'll get your World Rugby Level 3 accreditation, which is the highest accreditation you can get as a coach in South Africa. There's level 1 is more for your new guys, you're new to rugby, a great introduction to rugby union, which I highly recommend. And then after you've done your level 1, you go into level 2, where your level 2 is more of a six-week cycle, where you coach a team and you have to hand in your session plans and your coaching plans, and then obviously your game plans for certain matches, which is also a very, very good course. The level 3 is a bigger scope, just building onto your level 1s and your level 2, more of a season plan, and your periodization regarding your side, how you're going to get them to develop and get better. It's a course I thoroughly enjoyed. Once again, having the privilege to go to the course with great coaches, having a chance to rub shoulders with some of the best in South Africa, which I enjoyed, and then being able to obtain it and get it is one of my coaching highlights so far in my career. Yeah, so I think as a head of rugby or director of rugby, I think your role is big, because you have to look at your intakers for the under 14s for the next year. I think you sit down and you plan with your under 15 coaches, how they're going to go about their pre-season and how it intertwines with their season coming up, and then how they develop into going into under 16. And then you sit also down with your under 16 coaches, which I think is the biggest aspect, is to get them ready physically and technically. How you periodize that aspect with them, so they'll be ready for senior rugby. And then being part of the first team is to be able to ID a certain group that you feel is good enough to play first team, and that usually occurs after your last season, your last fixture of the season, and then you can build a squad from there. And then usually go into eight weeks of off season, which is between October and December, where the guys train 3 times a week on the field, 4 times a week in the gym, and you've got your 8-week block going there, and then they go on December holiday, and then you've got a 6-week block just before trials, where you get your squad in again, and you 3 times on the field and 4 times in the gym, and then they get ready for trials, and then we'll have a week of trials here at Affies where 200 boys per age group show up, and you have to pick a A to G team and make sure that everyone's got equal chances to play, and you pick the best team at the A team, and then you filter them down all the way to the G team, and then the season starts. So by then the guys would have, especially the A and B team guys, they'll have a good account of what's expected of them, what they have to do regarding game model wise, from under 14 all the way straight up to first team. But yeah, I think every big school in the country runs a system similar to us. So yeah, it's just it's once again just a test to how Schoolboy rugby has grown, because when I was at school way back, we didn't really have any preseason or anything like that, and now I think it's mandatory for schools to be able to run a proper off-season and a preseason. So yeah, here at Affies we're lucky that we have good facilities and good coaches who can oversee a good off-season program. Yeah, so it's a big business, if I can tell it that. Obviously, rugby after school is massive, and like you mentioned, every boy wants to get there. It's unfortunately not for everyone. I think out of this matric group, out of this year, only 1% will get contracts to a union, and then after under 21, I think 0.8% of that under 21 age group will continue playing rugby. So it's a small percentage of guys that has the privilege to continue. At school level, I'm lucky enough to be part of the SARU EPD system, where even they expect us to know the players by under 15 already, who's the guys that got potential for SA schools or SA schools A and Craven Week. And I think every union playing in the URC has got the similar system, so they'll in their unions know already who's the best under 16s, who's the best under 17s, who's the best under 18s. And then joining that, part of the ecosystem, as you mentioned, is guys like high performance managers at unions, which I feel as a head of rugby you have to have good connections with and a good relationship with, because it builds opportunities for your boys. And with them, there's obviously agents that play a massive role in moving players around. So they're also part of the ecosystem. Some people try to put their head in the sand and not deal with agents, but I feel they've got an important role to play in the ecosystem and the development of young talent. So having good relations with them and understanding their role and understanding most of them's heart is also good. Just to get them connecting with the right people is very important. So every boy shall be scouted now, even at under 16 level already. Some of them will have agents at the end of their under 16 year. They'll work all the way through, hopefully play for their school's first team, make it to Craven Week. From there, the unions will contact maybe their agents or their parents, give them a contract of 2 to 3 years, and they'll decide where they want to sign, and then they'll sign. And after their matric final exam, the beginning of December, they already fall in with their newly signed union, having maybe a training camp or something like that, a training week. And then when the new year comes, they fall in with their union, and the junior program of the union starts. So yeah, it's a dream for every kid. Unfortunately, it's not for everyone. Like I said, the margins are small. But yeah, I think it's a big role that a school like Affies can play in the development of a boy, to make sure that everyone gets opportunity to be seen and get their talent out there, and then they can decide from there, what the path is for them, either go professional, go to university, continue their studies, or maybe pick a different path and do something else. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a big operation to run, but massive privilege to be a part of it. And yeah, like I said, to facilitate opportunity for boys to play rugby is our biggest goal here at school. If you play A team or first team, or even if you're in the H team, just to get games so you can live out your talent is a big thing for us. I think experience helps a lot, especially if you've been in an environment that's maybe been professional or maybe bigger than the school you're at. I just think your everyday run-of-the-mill stuff will be a little bit easier. I don't think it's a cardinal aspect to have is experience. I think if you are inexperienced, I think it's important for you to maybe get great experience around you if it's possible. In my case, head of rugby was maybe not as experienced, being in charge of a rugby program, which I immediately recognized, and I wanted strong people around me, which I got. So yeah, I think if you go by the names that's around me, I think you already see that yes, there's rugby pedigree around me. So if there's something that I slip, it's definitely will be picked up by someone else around me. So yeah, I think having the presence of mind or having the self-knowledge or the emotional intelligence to be able to say that and to know that, I think that's also a big part of being a head of rugby. I think it's an industry where if you become successful, you can maybe build your ego a little bit big. You can enclose yourself. You can maybe not have the right mindset, and you can maybe isolate yourself, which is not a good thing. But I think it's important to stay on the ground and maybe, like I said, have that self-knowledge or emotional intelligence to know that not every coach in the world knows everything, and be able to listen to the right voices outside, and then having people around you that support you and that knows their stuff and master of their craft, which can help you and attribute you and can uplift the program, which is the most important at the end of the day, is for the school's program to be better. Regardless if whose name is next to the title, it's about the school being the best. So if you have that mindset, I think you're already there, and having that, I think, is worth more than having 20 years or 30 years experience. Obviously, I think you're privileged that you're in a school like where I am at Affies. It's already a high level. If you talk about rugby, obviously it's a top rugby school in the country, maybe in the world, and to be head of rugby here is already a massive privilege. Where I see myself after this, I don't know what's the landscape outside of this. Like I told you, I think I've got both my sides of the bread buttered, being able to coach and give back to Affies, and then in the mornings, having a chance to see how it is here at the Bulls and helping with the under-19s there, just to get a bit of a grip on how it looks in the professional world, and obviously to keep learning, because I think you can only attend so much conferences and so much workshops that, I think ultimately we learn while you're on the job, so you learn while you do, and I've got the privilege to do that across the road. So my goal at the end of the day is to get Affies as strong as possible, and obviously leave it in a better place than when I started, which I'm hellbound to make happen. And like I said, the team around me feels the same. What happens after this is what happens. Like I said, I've been around the world, around the country, coached a lot of places, played a lot of places. So yeah, will it be a privilege to see if you can go to the next level? Definitely. Will it take a lot to pry me away from Affies? Definitely, because it's a passion of mine to be here, and I enjoy working here, and I've got the privilege to work with my brother as well. So I'm actually at a place where I can develop, optimally, and I enjoy it. And like I said, my family is happy. And coach with a heart when you're old boy here. So I don't think at many places you coach with a heart. So being here and giving back to the boys is very, very special. So yeah, you're gonna have to be special to top that. So yeah, but am I open? Yeah, obviously you're open, but yeah, I think I'm realistic to know as well that you're living in a special place now, and I'm just willing to enjoy that, until they chase me away. Obviously, I think you're privileged that you're in a school like where I am at Affies. It's already a high level. If you talk about rugby, obviously it's a top rugby school in the country, maybe in the world. And to be head of rugby here is already a massive privilege. Where I see myself after this, I don't know what's the landscape outside of this. Like I told you, I think I've got both my sides of the bread buttered, being able to coach and give back to Affies, and then in the mornings having a chance to see how it is here at the Bulls and helping with the under-19s there. Just to get a bit of a grip on how it looks in the professional world, and obviously to keep learning, because I think you can only attend so much conferences and so much workshops that I think ultimately we learn while you're on the job, so you learn while you do, and I've got the privilege to do that across the road. So my goal at the end of the day is to get Affies as strong as possible, and obviously leave it in a better place than when I started, which I'm hellbound to make happen, and like I said, the team around me feels the same. What happens after this is what happens. Like I said, I've been around the world, around the country, coached a lot of places, played a lot of places. So yeah, will it be a privilege to see if you can go to the next level? Definitely. Will it take a lot to pry me away from Affies? Definitely, because it's a passion of mine to be here, and I enjoy working here, and I've got the privilege to work with my brother as well. So I'm actually at a place where I can develop, optimally, and I enjoy it. And like I said, my family is happy. And you coach with a heart when you're old boy here. So I don't think at many places you coach with a heart. So being here and giving back to the boys is very, very special. So yeah, you're gonna have to be special to top that. So yeah, but am I open? Yeah, obviously you're open, but yeah, I think I'm realistic to know as well that you're living in a special place now, and I'm just willing to enjoy that, until they chase me away. Ja, nee, dankie. Ek dink jy weet vir my span, kom ons gaan geniet dit. Is 'n unieke geleentheid wat ons het om by 'n Paasfees toernooi te speel. Veral met die geskiedenis wat Kes het. So kom ons gaan geniet Saterdag, ons geniet Maandag met alles wat ons het. Ons het hard gewerk om 'n goeie voet voor te sit. So kom ons gaan doen dit. Ek dink dit is 'n spesiale geleentheid vir al die skole wat daar is. Ons het 'n spesiale bond omdat ons almal betrokke is by skole rugby. Jy weet, kom ons gaan kompeteer hard teen mekaar, maar ons wees bewus van die groot prentjie om vriende te maak, om by mekaar te leer, om die game te groei. Jy weet, en ek dink nie daar's 'n beter platform wat ons het om rugby te straal vir die beste wat hy is as 'n paastoernooi by Kes nie. So baie sterkte vir almal. Ek hoop julle het almal 'n lekker toere vir die van julle wat ver kom. Geniet elke oomblik van dit. As jy nie weet waar jy moet wees nie, of jy's bietjie verdwaal in Johannesburg, bel my. Ek kan jou 'n bietjie rondwys, maar ja, kom ons geniet dit, en ons jy weet, ons wys die beste van skole rugby daar buite op Keseveld Saterdag. My naam is Ruan Jacobs. Ek is hoof van rugby by Afrikaans Oorseunskool, beter bekend as Affies. Ek is ook by die eerste span betrokke as die hoofafrigter. Ja.